A leather round knife has a double bevel on a convex curve, so I like to sharpen the edge on flat whetstones because I do not have much luck sharpening awkward curved blades like this freehand using a bench grinder, and setting up an elaborate compass jig is not practical. You need to soak your whetstones in clean water before you start, and I like to soak the stones I use for at least an hour. But if I am doing lots of sharpening, I keep the stones in a stone pond filled with water. This pond I bought from Lee Valley Tools, and it comes with a heavy piece of glass to flatten stones with as a lid. On a very flat surface, you want to rub your stone on fine grit wet dry sandpaper until the stone is as flat as the surface you are using. Next, you want to position the stone so it does not move while you're using it. So I like to use an adjustable whetstone holder with a rubber bottom, so I can easily move the stone around, but when I apply pressure to the stone as I am sharpening, the holder does not noticeably move. So this type of setup is very versatile. The trick to a sharp edge is to be very consistent with the angle you choose. And I use an angle a little sharper than a round kitchen knife blade, but sharpen the more complicated round knife blade in a similar way. If you are the only one sharpening the tool, the angle will become natural to you over time. Starting with the coarsest stone, find the angle and polish the edge flat. As you press down lightly on the blade, rub the blade back and forth several times as you progress a few millimeters at a time until you go all the way around the blade. Then turn the blade and do the other side so the opposite bevels overlap to create a burr. When the burr does form, go to a higher or smoother grit and repeat the process. Use a permanent marker to establish a reference line to make sure you have the right angle as it is being rubbed against the stone, which allows you to focus on the very edge. I started with a 250 grit stone because I was shaping the edge so it matched up on both sides to save time, because the metal is removed faster with a coarser stone, but now I am using a 1000 grit stone like I would doing a regular sharpening. This process takes quite a while, and you'll want to go back and use the felt pen a few times, especially when you switch to smoother stones. I use my round knives when I am cutting the end or point on a belt or strap, and a little angle skiving on the back, which uses the middle and end of the knife, so depending on how you will use your round knife, you will know the area of the knife that needs the most attention. The 4000 grit stone will remove the marks made by a 1000 grit stone, and an 8000 grit like this one is very hard and takes very little metal off, so I like to use it to polish the blade razor sharp by dragging the knife across the surface like I would a leather strop, which is pull the blade across the stone instead of pushing the edge into the stone, being careful not to change my angle and roll over the edge counterproductively. A leather strop loaded with polishing compound will remove the burr, as well as the marks from the whetstones, leaving a mirror finish. A round knife is an awkward knife to drag along a strop, so be careful not to cut into the leather as you drag the knife towards you. Since this is a new knife, it was delivered to me with very sharp edges where my fingers will be, so a little sanding helps to remove the edge before it has a chance to scratch or damage my fingers and hand. Since the shape of the area was on a curve, I wrapped a small piece of 1000 grit wet dry sandpaper around a suitable sized dowel and rounded over the edges. The long edge and awkward shape of a round knife makes the knife extremely dangerous if not stored properly, so it's not the kind of knife to simply throw into a drawer or the knife to pile up on your workbench without an edge guard.